If you want to start a business, it is going to take a lot more than you think. I went to this networking event not too long ago, and I met a guy named Lee who had started a private equity firm when he was 25. He had been running it for 6 years now. He's now 31. And private equity was something that I had an interest in, and obviously still do have an interest in. It wasn't that long ago. This was probably a couple weeks now since I met him. So I asked him some questions about it. I wanted to ask him how he got started in it. I asked him, what are some of his biggest challenges? I asked him pretty much just for his story. And he gave it to me. He gave me a story. So I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about what it looked like for him to start a private equity firm at the age of 25 and what he's been able to turn it into now, being 31 years old and running it for the last 6 years. Now, for those of you that don't know a lot about private equity, it is pretty much just you buying different companies for either holding purposes to just get cash flow and make good money off the cash flow and owning, a majority stake in those companies, or a minor stake, depending on your strategy. Or you could acquire those companies with the goal of growing them and then selling them for big chunks of money. Usually some kind of combination of both. If it makes sense to sell the company, then obviously you sell it, you exit it. If it makes sense to just hold it and rake in the cash flow, then you just do that. So he was 25, trying to get into private equity. And what you need is banks to loan you the funds to be able to buy these businesses. Obviously, you don't have millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy companies at the age of 25. If you do, great, but he didn't. So you need to go and approach a bank in order to get them to loan you the money to buy a company. You bring them your plan. You say, hey, this is what I want to do. These are the companies I want to acquire. And they got to be a connection for you to actually go and fund those deals. The problem is at 25 years old with no business background, no track record, good luck getting the banks to give you $3 to $5 million to go out and just buy a company. That was something I was super curious about. How was he able to make that first purchase? Yeah, you can learn how to find good deals. You can learn how to negotiate. But if no one's willing to front the money, how do you acquire companies? At 25 years old, he found a cool workaround. He actually put together a board of directors for his company before he had even acquired anything. He went and he found a bunch of CEOs, millionaires, billionaires, former CEOs, people that had the track record the bank needed to see to fund their deals. He put a group of them together so that he had the credibility he needed. Sounds great, but how was he actually able to get the people? How was he able to, at 25 years old, convince people with vast amounts of experience and years ahead of him in the business game to now come and work for him, be on his board for a brand new company with zero accolades? This is the part that I think is super important for anyone trying to get into any type of business, because the amount of creativity, resourcefulness, and just grit that he put in to be able to put together this team of board of directors, it's something that not many people are willing to do. And that's why I said at the beginning of this video, it's going to take a lot more than you think. How he put the team together was actually very, very simple, but it was far from easy. All he did was reach out to the people that he needed on LinkedIn. Every single day he logged into LinkedIn, he would message former CEOs, current CEOs, people in his area that would allow him to get the track record he needed. Now, let me ask you, if you're watching this, put it down in the comment section below. How many people would you be willing to message before you quit on building the board of directors to build your company? I've talked to so many people that are trying to start a company, trying to sell a new service, and they might message 20, they might message 30, might even message 100 people. And if they don't make a sale within those messages, they think the strategy doesn't work or they just quit. So I'll ask you again, how many people would you be willing to message to get this company off the ground? Because for Lee, he had to message a lot. He put together a team of 8 people on his board, and it took him over 4,300 messages and 500 in-person meetings in order to do it. He messaged people every single day for over, I think it was like a year to 2 years of messaging people just so that he could start the business. Not 2 years of growing the business, not 2 years of acquiring, deals, not 2 years of making sales, not 2 years of managing the company he's acquired. 2 years just to put together the board of directors so that he can now go and start the company. That's eating thousands of no's day after day out of the 4,003 something messages he sent out. he was only able to get a meeting with about 400 to 500 people. And out of the 400 to 500 in-person meetings, so this is 500 times going to sit down in a coffee shop, 500 times meeting someone at their office to have a chat, 500 times taking someone out for dinner to propose your plan, your strategy, your business idea. And his board of directors ended up being 8 people. So that's 492 face-to-face no's and 4,000 something online no's or ignores just to gather 8 people to start this company. So he gathers the 8 people. He finally starts the company and, high five, yay, he did it. We race off into the sunset. Now, millionaire status. No, the first 2 companies he acquired were duds. He failed. The first 2 companies, he went out with the name behind him now of these 8 wildly successful people with his board of directors. He promised each of them 3% equity in the company, in the private equity firm. Now he goes to the bank. He, great negotiation skills to be able to land, them as a partner to fund his deals. The first 2 he funds a few $1 million each. So now you're on the hook for these multi-million-dollar loans, 26, 27 years old now. And they fail. The company, and when I say fail, obviously it wasn't just straight, you buy the company and the company's just closed down. But the loan amount that he had to pay back every month was higher than the profits that the company he bought were allotting. So now he had to figure that out. He had to, with his business partner, his business partners that he brought on board, he had to go and figure out how he was going to grow these companies that he just acquired to be able to pay back this loan, because now you're on the hook for multi-millions of dollars on top of everything. And in order to solve that, guess what you got to do? You got to get creative. You got to get resourceful. Now, fast forward 6 years later, he now has a portfolio of companies, 31 years old, and the portfolio of companies is worth over $120 million. All because he had some of the most important things you need in business. You need that grit and consistency to just put in the high volume amount of work. He was super creative. He was creative with his strategies, creative with how he was going to solve problems, and he was resourceful to find a way to get things done when they needed to be done. Some of the most important things you need in business. So ask yourself, if you want to start a business, what are you willing to push through? Because I guarantee you, I've seen it over and over again in other people, and I've seen it over and over again for myself. Whenever I've counted the cost, in reality, it has always been way more than I thought. The work I had to put in, the volume I had to put in, the time, the effort, everything I had to put in, just assume it's going to be way more than you thought.